Greetings. Welcome to the Dr. J Vlog series. It is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. I'm happy to share with you today a discussion of music and the arts with a special focus on the third song on the first side of the album I've just released, 62 Since 62, for those who are interested. And the song is entitled Dark Horse Wisdom. It's a little bit of a quirkier song, a little bit of a different song, and intended specifically, though, to be an homage to George Harrison and his music, both with the Beatles and as a solo artist. He himself was, referred to himself as the Dark Horse and started Dark Horse record labels. So there's special symbolism attached to the title of the song. And the way I constructed the song was to combine both some of my original lyrics with some of the work of George Harrison. I'll explain more about that in a moment, but let's go ahead and jump into the song now and see what you think.
Choirs, voices fill my dreams. Sweet their lilting melodies. The shadows dance among the trees. Swaying gently in the breeze. Comes the sun, my sweet Lord, hear me, Lord, wake up my love, the Lord loves the one.
All right, I'm going to jump in here. So you've heard the intro, and that intro with the organ, that was Caleb, my collaborator, my engineer, recording mixer and producer and multi-instrumentalist, basically a musical savant. So Caleb, or also known as, he's my son, but known as CX Violet. That was his idea to give a kind of an upbeat and a Beatle-y type of feeling in terms of the intro. So the Beatles often had unusual intros to their song, or they experimented a great deal. And that's what we were doing in this instance as well. And then what you're hearing for the song thus far is myself primarily on the acoustic guitar, and I'm playing the drums as well. And I specifically try to play the drums in a style similar to Ringo Starr, who of course is the drummer for the Beatles, but he also played drums on a number of George Harrison's tracks as well as a solo artist. So that's what I'm doing. Caleb is adding the bass guitar, which I just love in this particular song. I love the way he constructed the bass line to complement the song. And he's also playing the electric piano. He added those fills, and you'll hear them periodically throughout the song as well. So that's the basics of what you're hearing. And all of the verses are my own lyrics, and then all of the choruses comes from George, all the words there come from George Harrison's songs, either titles or lines from various of his songs. So we're setting the stage, talking about the importance of music, filling our dreams, and most of us love music and different kinds of music. It's an integral part of so many of our lives, and that was just the imagery that I had, and it actually came to me in a dream one night. And I remember that, and I started playing the guitar the next day, just strumming it. And then I thought about George Harrison. And when I went into the chorus, I thought, this would be a good time to add some of his thinking, some of his words. And that's when the idea struck me of doing a song ultimately titled Dark Horse Wisdom, in honor of George Harrison's music. But let's carry on now with more of the song.
Whispered rhymes in troubled times, mountains vast we must climb, beacons burning in the night, guide our journey with their light. What is life? Day turn to bright. Welcome you. Here comes the sun. Give me love, for I did love. We know love comes to everyone.
All right, so we've gotten the second verse and the second chorus. Again, going back and forth between my words and the words of George Harrison. I should mention, too, that I've added backing vocals throughout the song, again, because so much of the Beatles' work and so many of their melodies or their songs included backing vocals to accompany the lead vocals, and sometimes three-part harmonies, that sort of thing. So they really were brilliant with their vocals, and I thought it would be a good idea, because George Harrison was one of the key figures in all of that as well, to do this tribute song and have a bit of vocal layering as well. So that's what you're hearing. I'm singing both parts. I'm also, especially in the first chorus, a little bit flat on one or two of the lines, because I think I've mentioned previously, or if you don't know, there was no auto-tuning or pitch correction, obviously. We wanted it to be as natural as possible. So that's fine. I still like it. And then what we're doing here is we're moving now into a little instrumental, and I don't want to give it away if you haven't heard it previously, but sharp-eared listeners among you should recognize this part, this musical interlude, shall we say. So, obviously what I've introduced there would be the solo. This comes from one of his most famous songs, perhaps his biggest solo hit, My Sweet Lord. And instead of adding it as a guitar solo, we've I brought on Veda Hingert McDonald. She's an outstanding world-class violinist, quite frankly. She's played with some major orchestras. And she's playing the solo, the George Harrison solo from My Sweet Lord on the violin. So I thought that would give us a little bit of a different sound. And also because, I can play the solo myself on the guitar, but I don't sound nearly as good as George Harrison. I don't have quite the stylistic phrasings or abilities that he had. I do have other friends who could play the solo certainly much better. But I thought, just to, again, sort of claim this song more for my own, and yet at the same time honor his memory and his song, I thought it'd be cool to change it up a little bit. But I deliberately then included that transition, that little bridge in the middle of the song, as a way of reinforcing the overall theme. So I hope you enjoyed that. I think it's pretty cool. And then we transition back into the last portion of the song. So I'll take it home from here. And I have a few more comments to share after that. So here we go, back from the bridge, back into the last verse and last choruses.
Lessons learned from bridges burned, that tiger, fierce and stern. Ignore your trifling, dull concern. Our lives, the briefest of sojourns. Stuck inside cloud nine, deep blue sky. Here comes the sun. See yourself, save the world. Far east bound, the mystical one. Peace on earth, free from birth. All things must pass. Here comes the sun. If you believe I did for you, the dark horse knew we all are. We all are. We all are one.
Okay, and I'll leave the credits there on the screen for the ending. So obviously this is called Dark Horse Wisdom by the Dr. J Experience, the producing, the arranging, the mixing, and the recording by Caleb CX Violet Mikowski. And then I'm playing, of course, it's an original song, so I did the music and the lyrics, mostly the lyrics, but interspersed with, of course, the words of George Harrison, which I'll come back to. And I play the acoustic guitar and the drums on the song. And CX Violet's doing the organ that you hear at both the beginning and the end, the electric piano you hear throughout, that amazing bass line that I just love. He's also added some additional percussion and string arrangements. And then the aforementioned violin solo by Veda Hingert McDonald. And I want to give a shout out to Kira Patterson, my videographer. She's done the work here. We're very collaborative, and I tell her what I want, and she throws in her own ideas. And anyway, that's what produced the music video that you see there and some of the imagery. And I just think she does a fantastic job. So she's a student of mine, or former student of mine, still at King's University College, and hopefully going to Teachers College next year. So I think that'll be a great addition to the profession. Okay, so that's just the credits. I want to talk a little bit more then about the final verse. So again, these are my words, but the first line of the last verse, lessons learned from bridges burned, that's also, it's a common phrase or expression here, some version thereof. It's also a song called Lessons Learned from Dan Fogelberg. So I've sort of I snuck him into the song as well, at least with that particular line. Some of you will know, or I've mentioned previously, he's my all-time favorite musician or biggest influence musically on my own life. And then the next line, beware that tiger, fierce and stern. I don't know if you noticed the spelling of tiger, Tyger. You might think, oh, he misspelled tiger. No, that's a reference to the work of William Blake and his poetry. So that's done quite intentionally. And then the line, ignore your trifling dull concerns. And I don't know if you caught the imagery there, but I really enjoy that, or I find it a very powerful expression or symbolism associated with the video of the man carrying the cross, the obvious symbolism that's suggested there. And I'm thinking about that again in the context of, we get so worked up and so concerned about the smallest of things, perhaps, and in the grander scheme of things, look at what Christ represents, for example. But of course, the theme of the song and Harrison's spirituality is even much broader in that sense, very global in nature. And that's what I wanted to capture both in the words and the imagery that you see on screen there as well. So it's the kind of spiritual pursuits of so many different peoples across religions and cultures and so forth. All, of course, aiming for the highest expression of the human condition and our sort of connection with the broader universe and God and everything that lies beyond the here and now. So the supernatural, if you will. And then the last two choruses encapsulates so much of his wisdom. That is George Harrison's wisdom. Stuck inside a cloud, cloud nine. Deep blue sky, here comes the sun. So you hear the phrase, here comes the sun, one of his most famous Beatles songs, of course. That's repeated on multiple occasions in the song. See yourself, save the world, Far East Man, the mystical one. Those are all from George Harrison's work. And of course, the Far East Man there, I showed up on screen there as well. That'll be obvious to some of you. Then his lines, peace on earth, free from birth. That comes from one of his, again, more famous solo albums, Give Me Love, Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth, and so on. All things must pass, here comes the sun. So those references are quite obvious as well. And then even the last lines are from his own songs as well. If you believe I live for you, the dark horse knew we all are, we all are, we all are one. And that's again, the universal theme that ties everything together. So again, I appreciate that not everybody's going to like that particular song, that it's a little bit quirky, it's a little bit different. I do like its positioning on the album as well. If you're not familiar with the album, my debut album, 62 Since 62, the first side of the album is really devoted to the more universal themes and spiritual themes and our place in the universe and in relation to God and so forth. Whatever your beliefs might be, I think you'll find the songs meaningful. And they speak to these sort of overarching themes, the existential themes of our place, if you will, in the grander scheme of things and in the universe. And again, in terms of our spiritual orientations and so forth. But I've really tried to create a series of songs that tie together a high degree of optimism and kind of it's a reflection really in general of my worldview. So again, I'm not suggesting that everyone has to share this view or that that we're all on the same page necessarily, but I do like the idea there of trying to convey an uplifting series of messages, ones that I think most of us can identify with, and that's what comprises the first half of the album, the first 6 songs on side 1. And then the second side, side 2, really deals with the more personal set of songs about my own family, about both the passing of my mother and, in one case, and then the passing of my father. One song's devoted to my wife, especially. Another song deals with my own sort of struggles in life and how I got to be here. Happy to say I'm still here, and so on. So the second, side 2, is a little bit more reflective from a more personal standpoint. But then in the final song, the tribute to my mother, it kind of ties it all back together. So that was my intention. That's why I was trying to tell a story with the album, with my music and the lyrics and so forth. But in this particular case, with Dark Horse Wisdom, I noticed that it's had quite a few views. It doesn't have nearly as many likes as some of my other songs. So I understand that not everybody really appreciates it. But I thought maybe through sharing the details and a little bit of the behind-the-scenes look into the song, that people might appreciate it a little bit more and at least understand from an artistic standpoint what I was trying to accomplish. And again, just a big shout out and thanks to my collaborator, CX Violet. He and I worked really well together. We had a lot of fun. We worked really hard to put this together and make it sound like something. And again, I have the songs. I don't write music, so I have the songs in my head, and I figure out what I think sounds good when I'm playing guitar or piano or what have you. And then I have this wonderful collaborator in CX Violet, my son Caleb, and we figure out the arrangements, and we do a little bit of experimenting and so forth. And anyway, so this one went through probably more iterations than probably any other song on the album. So anyway, I hope you appreciate the work, the song, music in general. It's a light in my life. I hope it is in yours as well. And so we'll stop there for today. And thanks for listening. Thanks for stopping by. And as ever, as I like to close, I wish you all the very best, and may you and yours continue to create peace in your lives and nurture love in your hearts. I know that's what the Dark Horse would have wanted for all of us. It's something that I want for all of us as well. All the best. We'll see you soon.